Brothers and sisters of Africa, watch this video till the end. My people, my comrades in this great struggle. Today I speak to you, not with fear, not with hesitation, but with the fire of truth burning in my heart. They think they can silence us. They think they can intimidate us. They think with their papers, their so-called international warrants, they can bend the will of a continent. But I stand before you to tell you, Interpol may issue whatever warrant it wishes, but the people of Africa do not bow to Interpol, do not bow to France, do not bow to the United States, do not bow to the European Union. Let me be very clear. This arrest warrant is not about justice. It is not about law. It is not about peace or security. This warrant is a weapon of imperialism, forged in the same workshops where they forged slavery, colonization, and the theft of our minerals. It is nothing more than a political weapon, a desperate attempt by those who are watching their empire collapse, by those who are watching Africa rise again. They say I am a danger. They say I am destabilizing their order, but let me ask, whose order? Whose peace? Whose law? Was it Africans who enslaved Europeans and shipped them across oceans? Was it Africans who stole lands, destroyed cultures, and drew artificial borders with blood and greed? Was it Africans who bombed nations, toppled governments, and turned the Middle East into ruins? No, it was them. It was their so-called civilized world that has fed on the blood of others for centuries. And today, because one African soldier dares to say enough, they mobilize Interpol to silence him. I say this to Interpol. You are not neutral. You are not an organization of justice. You are the long arm of those who cannot win in the battlefield of ideas, so they hide behind your red notices and your bureaucracy. But you have made a mistake. You think arrest warrants stop revolutions? You think papers can chain a people who have already broken the shackles of colonization? Let me tell you, your warrant is nothing but an insult, a piece of paper that will only make us stronger. Donald Trump, Emmanuel Macron, the bureaucrats of Brussels, I speak directly to you. You threaten us because of our resources, because of our gold, our uranium, our oil, our fertile lands. You want us to remain suppliers of raw materials, beggars in our own house. But we have seen through your lies. You cloak your greed with words like democracy, human rights, and global security. Yet your history shows the opposite. You support dictators when they serve your companies. You overthrow leaders when they defend their people. You fund wars when they open paths to your corporations. And now, because we are saying Africa will own its own destiny, you turn Interpol into your hunting dog. But listen carefully, I am not afraid. Africa is not afraid. You can threaten me with prison, you can threaten me with exile, you can threaten me with death, but what you cannot do is break the will of millions who have awakened. The youth of Africa have risen, the workers of Africa have risen, the farmers of Africa have risen. They have decided no more exploitation, no more humiliation, no more puppets dancing to the West. Do you know why this warrant backfired the moment it was issued? Because it exposed the truth. It revealed that the so-called international system is not about fairness, it is about control. Africans who were still doubting now see clearly, this is not about Ibrahim Traoré, this is about every African who refuses to sell their minerals for scraps, about every African who refuses to kneel before Paris or Washington. I am simply a voice, but behind me stands a generation that has sworn never again. Let them call me a rebel, let them call me a dictator, let them call me a criminal. Their insults are badges of honor, because every African leader who ever stood tall for his people was slandered, was demonized, was hunted. Patrice Lumumba was called dangerous. Thomas Sankara was called dangerous. Nelson Mandela was called a terrorist. Kwame Nkrumah was called a threat. And now, because I continue in their path, they add my name to that list. But I tell you, if that is the company I keep, I accept it proudly. What they fear most is not me.
Brothers and sisters, before we go further, comment below which country you're watching this video from. Let the whole world see how Africa's voice is uniting across borders.
It is the unity of Africa. They tremble at the thought of Africans saying, "Our gold stays in Africa. Our uranium powers African homes. Our oil fuels African industries. Our land grows food for African children." They fear the end of their parasitic lifestyle, where they live in luxury while we die in poverty. They fear a continent that no longer allows foreign companies to rob it blind, a continent that no longer obeys orders from Paris, London, Brussels, or Washington. That is what they fear, and that is why they hide behind Interpol. Macron, you dare to speak of liberty, equality, fraternity, yet your hands drip with African blood. You sit in your palace in Paris, living on wealth stolen from Niger's uranium, from Mali's gold, from Burkina Faso's sweat, and you believe a warrant will make us crawl back to you? No, Macron. France is finished in Africa. Your arrogance has expired. Trump, you shout about making America great again. But tell me, was America ever great for Africans? Was it great when millions were enslaved on plantations? Was it great when Africa's resources were drained to build your skyscrapers? You come with threats, you come with sanctions, but we know you. We know America's greatness is built on theft, on exploitation, on war, and we are no longer afraid. The European Union, with your endless committees and false diplomacy, you act as though you are guardians of morality, but the whole world sees your hypocrisy. You welcome dictators who bow to you. You celebrate elections that keep your stooges in power. But the moment an African leader says, "We will control our resources," you call him criminal. You issue warrants, you prepare coups, you unleash propaganda. This is your justice. This is your democracy. But hear this. No matter what you do, I will lead Africa. If I fall tomorrow, another will rise. If you jail me, the prisons will not hold the revolution. If you kill me, my blood will water the tree of African freedom. Do you understand? This is bigger than Ibrahim Traoré. This is about the soul of Africa. And I swear before God, not me, not a single African will bow. We will not sell our minerals. We will not sell our sovereignty. We will not sell our dignity. You can take your contracts, your bribes, your threats, and shove them back to the place they belong. Africa is not your mine, not your farm, not your playground. Africa is the land of free people, and free people cannot be enslaved again. Look at what they have done. They have tried to divide us. They have tried to pit brother against brother, neighbor against neighbor, region against region. They have tried to tell us that the only way to survive is to serve them, to accept crumbs, to praise their flags while we starve. But we have opened our eyes. We see clearly now. We are not here to be their servants. We are here to be masters of our own destiny. Interpol, you think your warrants scare us. You think your notices are binding over our consciences. But let me remind you, the conscience of Africa is not for sale. It is not a commodity. It is not subject to your red stamps and signatures. Your paper is weak. Your threats are hollow. You can chase me across the world, but you cannot chase the truth from the hearts of Africans. And make no mistake, this is a message to all African leaders who hesitate, who compromise, who bend to foreign pressure. Your time is over. The era of puppets is finished. We are reclaiming our land, our minerals, our history, our dignity. You may sit in your offices and sign papers dictated from abroad, but history will remember those who stood, and history will remember those who bowed. I will not bow. I am not alone. The people will not bow. The youth will not bow. And the earth itself that nourishes us will not bow to their greed. You threaten sanctions. You threaten isolation. You threaten reputations. You call me a criminal, a rogue, a rebel. But I tell you, the only criminals are those who have stolen Africa, who have colonized Africa, who have used Africa as a playground for centuries of exploitation. Every warrant you issue, every threat you make, only exposes your corruption and cowardice. You are scared because we are awake. And when Africa awakens, the world trembles. I speak directly to Donald Trump again. You have spent your life building walls, building empires, building illusions of power. But you cannot build a wall around the African spirit. You cannot buy loyalty with money stolen from the sweat of African children. You cannot threaten a people who have survived centuries of slavery, colonization, and dictatorship. Africa remembers. Africa never forgets, and Africa will rise. Emmanuel Macron, you parade as a leader of progress, of diplomacy, of civilization. But let us call things by their name. You are a thief, a colonizer in spirit, if not in uniform. You speak of partnership, of aid, of cooperation, but we know your real agenda: control, theft, exploitation. You send Interpol as your messenger, hoping to intimidate, hoping to stop our progress, but you are too late. Africa is moving. Africa is reclaiming what is rightfully hers. And your warrants are nothing but a badge of your failure. European Union, you speak of rules, of norms, of morality, yet you fund coups, you support dictators, you silence voices of resistance. You believe that issuing a warrant against me will silence the call for freedom. You believe that the chains of paper can hold a continent that has already broken its chains of oppression. You are mistaken. You are blinded by arrogance, by greed, by the belief that Africa will always remain weak. But we are strong, we are determined, and the people will not obey your orders. Interpol, hear this clearly. Your organization has been weaponized against the people of Africa. Your mandate, which claims to uphold justice, has become a tool of oppression. You pretend neutrality, but we see through your lies. You serve the interests of the powerful, not the vulnerable. You act on command from Washington, Paris, Brussels, because you fear losing the control you have maintained over Africa for centuries. But your fear will not stop us. Your papers will not stop us. Your threats will not.
Family, if you believe Africa must own its gold, its oil, and its land for its own people, type Yes Africa in the comments. Let's see how many stand with this message of sovereignty.
Stop us. We will not sell our minerals. We will not sell our sovereignty. We will not sell our dignity. Africa will be free. Africa will control its wealth. Africa will lead its own destiny. We are done being silent. We are done being obedient. We are done allowing foreigners to dictate who we are, how we live, and what we can achieve. Let every African hear me. This is your fight as much as mine. This is your destiny. The future of our children depends on our courage today. We cannot allow a handful of foreign powers to continue profiting from our labor while we remain impoverished. We cannot allow their banks, their corporations, and their governments to decide what is right for us. The time has come to reclaim Africa, and I, Ibrahim Traoré, will lead that charge. To those who doubt, who whisper that Africa cannot stand against the West, I say, look at our history. Look at the courage of our ancestors. Look at the heroes who have spilled their blood so we could breathe freely. Do you think we will betray their legacy for fear of Interpol, for fear of Macron, for fear of Trump, for fear of the European Union? No, we honor them by standing tall. We honor them by refusing to bow. We honor them by reclaiming what is ours. And let me address the issue of fear directly. Fear is a tool they use to control. Fear is a weapon, but it has no power over those who know who they are. I do not fear arrest. I do not fear threats. I do not fear violence. I fear only the betrayal of my people, the compromise of our dignity, the loss of Africa's freedom. And as long as I draw breath, I will fight. As long as I lead, we will not yield. Interpol, this is your moment of shame. Your warrant is not a victory, it is a confession. A confession that the West cannot win in Africa through dialogue, cannot win in Africa through cooperation, cannot win in Africa through respect. They can only win through threats, through intimidation, through fake justice. But we are immune to your paper chains. We are immune to your lies. We are immune to your fear. Let the world see this clearly. We are not subjects, we are not servants. We are not to be intimidated by red notices or legal threats. Africa will not kneel. Africa will not compromise. Africa will not surrender. We will defend our people, our land, and our future with every means available to us. And let every foreign leader hear this. Your threats are meaningless. Your words are empty. Your power is temporary. Africa is eternal. Africa is rising. To my fellow Africans, I say, do not be afraid. Stand with me. Stand with your brothers and sisters. Stand with your children. The West will try to intimidate us, to divide us, to distract us. But we are united. We are determined, and we are unstoppable. We will own our resources. We will control our destiny. We will lead Africa to greatness. And finally, to the Western powers who watch and plot, know this. I will not back down. I will not submit. I will not betray the trust of my people. Not me, not a single African will bow. We are awake, we are strong, and we are free. You may try to silence one voice, but the voice of Africa cannot be silenced. The spirit of Africa cannot be broken. The future of Africa cannot be stolen. We will take back what is ours. We will build what is ours. We will protect what is ours, and we will never again allow foreign powers to dictate our destiny. Let this arrest warrant be remembered, not as a sign of my weakness, but as a symbol of our awakening, as a declaration that Africa is rising, as proof that the era of foreign domination is over. I stand here today, proud, unyielding, defiant, and full of hope. The warrant has failed because Africa has already won. The paper may be signed, but the people's will is stronger than ink. The threats may come, but the courage of millions cannot be silenced. And the West may plan, but the future belongs to Africa, and Africa will never bow. So hear me well, Macron, Trump, the EU, Interpol. Your attempts to intimidate us are futile. Your arrest warrant is a joke. Your threats are empty. Your empire is crumbling. And Africa is rising. We are not afraid. We are not weak. We are not subjects. And we will not bow. We will lead. We will defend. We will rise. We will own our land. We will own our resources. We will own our destiny. And no paper, no threat, no empire can ever take that from us. Not me, not a single African. We are free, we are strong, and we will remain so forever. Interpol is not what it claims to be. It is presented to the world as a neutral organization, a guardian of law and order, a protector of justice. But in reality, it has become a weapon in the hands of Western powers, a tool designed to maintain control over Africa and suppress any leader or nation that dares to assert independence. The arrest warrant issued against me is not about enforcing the law. It is about enforcing their will. It is about sending a message to Africa. Stay in your place. Do not challenge our authority. Do not touch the resources we believe belong to us. Look at the history of Africa. Look at the history of the world, and you will see the same pattern repeating itself. Whenever a leader rises to defend African sovereignty, whenever a government tries to protect its people's wealth, the West moves quickly to neutralize them, not through debate, not through negotiation, but through threats, sanctions, and instruments like Interpol. They hide behind bureaucracy, they hide behind red notices and legal jargon, but everyone who watches closely sees the truth. This is intimidation. This is coercion. This is empire disguised as law. Donald Trump, Emmanuel Macron, and the European Union do not fear the law. They manipulate it. They use it as a shield to protect their corporations, their investors, and their access to Africa's gold, uranium, oil, and other vital resources. They craft an image of fairness while simultaneously punishing those who resist exploitation. Interpol, under their influence, becomes a hunting dog. It chases those who refuse to bow, those who refuse to compromise, those who say Africa belongs to Africans. This is not hypothetical. The moment this arrest warrant was announced, the people of Africa saw it for what it truly is, a desperate attempt to maintain a failing system of control. It exposes the hypocrisy of the West and their so-called international organizations. What they claim to be justice is actually injustice. What they claim to be neutrality is actually bias. And what they claim to be protection is actually oppression. Africa has always been rich in resources, yet they treat us as poor, dependent, and inferior. Interpol's warrant is not about justice for any crime. It is about preserving the status quo of exploitation. It is about making sure Africa remains a source of raw materials for foreign powers, while the continent itself remains underdeveloped and subservient. That is the real agenda. That is the truth that they do not want Africans to see. But let them issue their warrants, let them sign their papers, let them parade their authority. The truth is stronger than any document. The will of Africa is stronger than any organization. And the people are waking up to the realization that these international instruments are not protectors, they are chains. Chains that were meant to keep us obedient, silent, and exploited. And today, I stand to break those chains. Today, Africa sees clearly, Interpol is not justice, Interpol is oppression. And no paper, no warrant, no foreign decree can ever change that. Defiance against threats is the heart of this struggle. Let them understand clearly, neither I nor any African will bow to foreign pressure, threats, or sanctions. The Western powers believe that by waiving their sanctions, by issuing warnings, by using their economic and military influence, they can bend the will of Africa. They believe that a single piece of paper signed by Interpol or some international authority can break the spirit of a continent that has survived centuries of...
Stay with me, because the most powerful truth is coming. And if you haven't yet, hit the like button and subscribe right now, so that Africa's voice of freedom never gets silenced.
Slavery, colonization, and exploitation. But they are mistaken. They have underestimated the courage, the determination, and the resilience of our people. I stand here not as one man alone, but as a voice of millions who refuse to submit. They may threaten me with arrest, they may threaten the nation with economic pressure, they may try to isolate us politically, but their threats are empty. Their sanctions are temporary. Their intimidation is a reflection of fear, not strength. They know that when Africans rise in unity, no army, no police force, no international organization can suppress us. Let it be clear, defiance is not simply resistance, it is the assertion of sovereignty. It is the declaration that Africa belongs to Africans, that our decisions will be made by us, for us, and not dictated by capitals thousands of miles away. We will not compromise our principles for fear of retaliation. We will not sacrifice the future of our children to satisfy the greed of foreign powers. Every threat, every warning, every sanction only strengthens our resolve. It reminds us that we are on the right path, that we are challenging injustice and reclaiming our dignity. And this defiance is not passive, it is active, it is visible, it is felt in every corner of Africa where people are waking up to the truth, the youth, the workers, the farmers, the soldiers. They all see that bowing to external pressure is not an option. The era of compliance is over. The era of silence is over. We have tasted freedom in spirit and in vision, and no external force can take that away. Foreign powers may try to intimidate, but intimidation is meaningless to those who know their worth. We do not live in fear of threats because we live in faith in our people, our history, and our destiny. They may seek to isolate us, but isolation only exposes the weakness of those who fear our strength. And I tell them we are strong, we are united, we are awake, and we will not bow, not today, not tomorrow, not ever. No paper, no warrant, no sanction can ever suppress the will of a free African people. The moment they believe a threat can make us surrender is the moment they reveal their desperation. Defiance is the answer. Defiance is our weapon. Defiance is our right. And this defiance will carry Africa forward beyond the reach of those who wish to dominate and exploit. Africa's right to own its resources is not negotiable. It is not a privilege to be granted by foreign powers. It is not a concession to be begged for or bargained over. Africa's gold, its uranium, its oil, its fertile lands, its forests, its rivers, these are not gifts from the West. They belong to the people of Africa, to every worker who labors in the mines, to every farmer who tills the soil, to every child who dreams of a future free from hunger and poverty. And yet, for decades, these resources have been stripped away, sold at a fraction of their value, and used to enrich foreign corporations and foreign governments while our people remain in misery. I say to the West, your days of exploitation are over. You can no longer pretend that you are partners in our development while you drain our wealth. You can no longer manipulate our governments to hand over our minerals, our oil, our very lifeblood. Africa will control its resources and control them for the benefit of Africans, not for the benefit of multinational companies or foreign treasuries. To those who would threaten, bribe, or intimidate, know this: Africa is awake. Africa knows its value. And Africa will not allow its wealth to be stolen under the guise of investment or aid. Every mine, every well, every field belongs first to Africa, and we will defend them with our lives if necessary. We will use them to build schools, hospitals, factories, and infrastructure. We will use them to educate our youth, to lift our people out of poverty, and to create a continent that can stand proudly on its own. Let the world understand clearly. Controlling our resources is not merely an economic issue. It is a question of dignity, sovereignty, and self-respect. To sell our wealth for crumbs while foreigners profit is to betray our ancestors and to deny our children a future. And I will never betray my people. I will never allow Africa's riches to be stolen under my watch. No longer will we accept the lie that Africa is weak or dependent. No longer will we accept deals dictated by outsiders who do not care for our welfare. Africa's resources are Africa's strength. They are the foundation upon which our independence will be built, and every African must rise to defend them. If we lose control of our minerals, we lose our freedom. If we allow outsiders to exploit our wealth, we betray the generations that fought for liberation. And to those Western powers watching, your attempts to manipulate our resources, to purchase loyalty, to intimidate leaders will fail. Africa is united in this purpose. We will build industries, we will create jobs, we will ensure that our wealth circulates within our continent, benefiting our people rather than feeding foreign greed. We will invest in Africa's future, not in foreign profits. Africa's right to its resources is absolute. It is unbreakable, it is the lifeblood of our independence, and as long as I lead, as long as Africa stands, our resources will remain in African hands, for African hands, and for African children. This is not a request, this is not a debate, this is a command to the West. Respect Africa's sovereignty, or face the consequences of a continent that has awakened to its own power. We will not sell our minerals. We will not exploit our own land for the benefit of others. We will not compromise our future for short-term gains or foreign pressure. Africa will own its wealth, and with that wealth, Africa will reclaim its dignity, its independence, and its rightful place in the world. Brothers and sisters of Africa, this is a moment that demands courage, vision, and above all, unity. For too long, the continent has been divided, fragmented by borders drawn in foreign offices, manipulated by foreign powers who profit while our people suffer. Today we say, no more! The time has come for every African, from the deserts of the north to the jungles of the Congo, from the savannas of Kenya to the cities of South Africa, to recognize that our strength lies not in isolation, but in solidarity. We must reject exploitation in every form, be it the theft of our minerals, the plundering of our oil, or the manipulation of our politics by those who seek only to profit from our labor and resources. This is not merely a political struggle, it is a moral duty. Every African leader who dares to defend the continent's sovereignty deserves our support. Every citizen who refuses to bow to foreign pressure is a soldier in this fight for dignity. We must unite our voices, our minds, and our hearts. for the enemy counts on our disunity. They think that by sowing division, bribing leaders, or threatening sanctions, they can weaken us. But they underestimate the spirit of Africa. Together, we are unbreakable. Together, we are unstoppable. Together, we are the future. This struggle is not for one nation alone, nor for one leader. It is the collective fight for freedom, for self-determination, for the right of Africans to decide our destiny without interference. Let the world hear us. Africa will not kneel. Africa will not sell her soul. Africa will rise, proud and unshakable, and we will reclaim what is rightfully ours. Stand with me, stand with your brothers and sisters, and together we will build an Africa that is free, united, and strong, an Africa that no force on this earth can intimidate or control. Our time is now.
This was Justice Unfolded, bringing you the unfiltered truth. Stand tall, stay united, and never bow. Until next time, brothers and sisters, subscribe this channel.